Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
I just had a quick question on the annual revenue part.
Okay. So what I'm actually going to do first is type in all of the headers you guys should have for this, and then show you where they apply to. So for each, we have advertising. We have country. J, we have cable question mark. K, we have cable fee. L, we have international fees. M, we have total annual revenue. N, we have production cost. O, we have total annual payments. P, we have actors' salaries. Q, we have location costs. R, we have final location costs. S, we have total costs. T, we have profit. U, we have continue or cancel, question mark. Okay, so your question was on which one?
The total annual cost.
So total annual revenue.
Yeah, revenue, sorry.
Okay. So this first section here, where it says you have been hired to construct a spreadsheet that will help decide if TV shows that you produce should be continued or canceled. So see how advertising, cable fees, and international fees all say revenue next to them, and the other three all say cost next to them. So the total annual revenue is going to be just adding those three up.
Okay, thank you.
Below, in the revenue section here, is how you get them basically. So the advertising for the first 7.5 million viewers, it's a little less than 5 cents. Otherwise, it's a little less than 2 cents for all of them over 7.5 million. Now, we did an example of that on Monday, where basically, okay, it's the first 7.5 million times this. I think it was the if the bushels was less than 4,000. So if D2, I think it was less than 4,000, look for that formula from Monday and basically pattern it after this. Go and change the assumptions. And instead of D2 for bushels from that, you're going to pick the column here that number of viewers is in. And then here it gives you, for example, the show Civil War has advertising revenues of 117,000. So if you put in the formula, and for this third one, Civil War, you're not getting that answer, then you need to adjust the formula.
Wouldn't the formula be ifs, right? Right?
Nope, you could do if whatever column this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if E2 is less than 7.5 million viewers, comma, then you just multiply whatever the number is here times this number here, the little less than 5 cents, comma, if it's not less than 7.5 million, then you would do 7.5 million times the little less than 5 cents
Mm.
plus whatever your number here is in column E minus 7.5 million times the little less than 2 cents. So I forget what formula it was. Actually, since I have Blackboard open, I might as well check. Okay. So it's going to be basically the same formula as fertilizer cost, except you have to change the assumptions. So the 4,000 becomes 7.5 million. The 1.64 dollars becomes wherever you put the little less than 5 cents, and then the $1.32 you put down as the little less than 2 cents. So that's why reading through first and setting up all your assumptions is probably your best bet. So, like, for example, for the advertised, I would go in here and I'd type in my 7.5 million. My little less than 5 cents. My little less than 2 cents. And then I'd format them by adding the decimals so they show up correctly. And then for the cable fee, I'd put an assumption of 55,000. And I made it easier for you. So the instructions for annual cable fee, if a country plays on a UK cable station, where did it go? So here in the country column, you would use simply the left function to check that or to get whatever country it is. So you do it left and 2 from column B to get US or UK. And then you would do the right for cable question mark to get N or C from the end. And then here for cable fee, you would basically check if and the country is UK and they are on cable, then they get the 55,000. Otherwise, they get 0. Then for the international fees, I would put in the table as a VLOOKUP nearest match. And since our column A is a little too small, we would do format, auto fit column width. So we see all the correct viewers. And that applies to this column here, L, international fees. So then for the total annual revenue, we would simply have a formula of equals our advertising here, plus our cable fee there, plus our international fees there. And that's what this is telling us above here. Advertising plus cable fees plus international fees are revenue. And then the instructions there on what we need to calculate revenue.
And that's for total annual revenue.
Yep. That's for this total annual revenue here. And then for total costs, it says production costs of the show, actor salary, and location costs. And then it describes how you would get that information. So when you have the total cost column here in column S, you would do equals N, which is your production cost, plus, wait, let me double check that. Production cost, total annual payment, actor salaries. Okay. So once annual production cost, actor salaries, and location costs. Okay. So it would be O plus P plus R. Sam, did you have a question? It looked like you sent me an email here.
Yeah, I have a question. Um, uh, uh, Annual actor salary is 4,000 per episode, right?
44 per episode. Yeah.
So so are we supposed to multiply the like prediction? Wait, actually, where do we find the number of episodes like to do that assumption?
So here in column D, it gives you number of episodes per year.
Oh,
So you're going to multiply the number of actors times the number of episodes per year times your $4,400 assumption. So I'll put that here. Actor salary. $4,400. So that would be equals the absolute of the 4,400. So this way you can autofill it down times number of episodes per year from column D times number of actors from column F. So basically the same formula as the labor cost from what we did on Monday, except the columns might be different depending on the information you need.
For location cost, there would be none for the UK, or
So there's a location cost and a final location cost. So the location cost is going to be an if function to check first if you have NY in the location. And if you do, then you're going to have the total annual revenue multiplied by that 1.35%. So if the number or the text here in column G equals NY, comma, the 1.35% times your total annual revenue here from column M, otherwise zero. And then the final location cost, because the maximum fee allowed is 10,000, you're going to do a min function. So you would do the minimum of your location costs or 10,000. So it'd be if your location cost is greater than zero, then take the minimum of the 10,000 or your location cost. And in the instance where you don't have New York, then you do comma 0 for the false.
Could you repeat? So you would do if and then location cost is less than 0.
Yep, you do if your location cost here in column Q is greater than 0, comma, then you do the minimum function for your true value to check to see whether that 10,000 we have here is the maximum fee allowed. So you have to put that as an assumption down here somewhere. So 10,000, 1.35%. So you would check to see which one is the minimum, your 10,000 or your location cost. So if it's true that this location cost is greater than 0, it's going to tell you which one is lower. So the maximum is 10,000. So if it's over 10,000, then it'll give you 10,000. But then because some of these aren't in New York, like Texas and Canada, so the final location cost is going to be 0, just like the location cost. So you have to do comma 0 for the false of the if statement.
Wait, how did you type the 1.35 percentage?
I just typed it in like that, 1.35, and then did shift 5 for the percentage.
It gives me 1%, and I'll do that.
Okay, so up here in the number pane, does it say percentage? If
Yeah.
it does, you could simply click this one here with the arrow to the left that says increase decimal.
Okay, that worked.
Perfect. Okay, so now I've typed in all of the assumptions from the instructions. So are there any other questions?
Not so far.
Okay. Like I showed you guys on Monday, as you're going through this and you think you completed something, you can go ahead and like delete those instructions because you could always just go back onto Blackboard here and click midterm exam and download the instructions again if you needed to.
For production costs.
Hmm?
So since we're like trying to pay off a loan, um, uh, like do we continue on using the if function?
So the production cost itself here in column N is going to be a VLOOKUP to find from your table here, type of show, cost per episode. And then you're going to multiply the VLOOKUP by your number of episodes. So it's going to be similar to, what was the one from Monday? So it's going to be similar to what you did with the seed cost, but you're going to multiply it by the number of episodes per year. And then you're going to take that and do a payment function. So here for total annual payments, you do equals PMT. You're going to take the 3.5% divided by 12. Then the 11, multiply it by 12. And then the last piece, your present value, will be the negative of your production costs. And then you multiply that all by 12. Because it wants the annual.
But you said to multiply what?
So the total annual, if you do what I just said, only gives you for a month. So
Mhm.
you multiply the entire payment function times 12.
Oh, okay. Oh, like okay.
Could you go over the location cost again?
So for location costs, it says programs produced in New York are charged an additional fee. New York in the location column indicates that there is a fee which is 1.35% of the total annual revenue of that show. However, the maximum fee allowed is 10,000. So I have location cost here and final location cost. So for location cost, you're basically just checking to see if it's New York. So you go back and you do an if function. So if whatever's in G equals New York, comma, our true value is going to be this 1.35% times whatever you get for your total annual revenue. If it's not New York, you have to have a false value for the if. So you do comma 0. But this might give you a number that's over $10,000. So then we have the final location cost, where you check if this number is over 0, the location cost, comma, you take the minimum value of that $10,000, or, you put a comma for the min. So you would do the 10,000 comma, whatever you have for your location. So basically it's going to check whichever one of those is the minimum, because the instructions say that the maximum fee allowed is 10,000. So that means if the location cost in this column, Q, is over 10,000, then for the final, it just drops down to 10,000 because that's the max. But then you have to do another comma and put a 0. Because if that if function is false, or this is not over 0, that means that it's not one of the New York locations. So the final location cost has to be 0, just like the location cost was. Calvin, did you have any questions?
No,
Okay. Thomas, did you?
When I do the location cost, I do equals if my location's under G3, and then I do equals again, quotation mark, NY.
Yep.
Quotation mark, and then I do comma, my rate, or my 1.35 is in R13. So I just do R13 times my total production, which is 04, and then comma 0. And it gives me just a dash with a dollar sign.
So you're multiplying it by your total annual revenue,
Yeah.
the 1.35%. And it's just giving you a dash?
Yeah.
You did comma 0 at the end, right?
Yes.
So the reason it gives you a dash, see how here in total annual revenue I have a dash?
Mhm.
That's because I have nothing. I have nothing in advertising, nothing in cable fee, nothing in international fees.
But I have values.
You have values and it's still giving
Mhm.
you a dash.
Yeah.
So you have it if location equals quote NY quote comma 1.35% times total annual revenue comma 0
Yes.
closed parentheses.
Yep.
And it's giving you a dash.
With the dollar sign.
So it looks like this.
Well, the dollar sign's in front of it. And it's spaced out.
So you have 3 of them or 5 of them?
Just one dash, but it's for all the values.
So it's for all 5 of them instead of just the first 3.
Yeah, no, it goes for all of them, even though it's supposed to go just to the last 2, right?
So the last 2 should actually have numbers. Those should have zeros.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I could send you a screenshot.
So if location equals NY, comma, 1.3% or 35% absolute times total annual revenue, otherwise 0. So I got 0 for all. Did you make sure that wherever your 1.35% is an absolute?
I believe that was the issue.
Okay. Because
'Cause
the
I'm
only
getting-
other possible issue might have been that maybe you had NY lowercase.
Yeah. I'm getting values for the last 2 now, and the first 3 have 0.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
And then for final, you do if that's greater than 0, then the true is the minimum between the 10,000, comma, your location cost. Otherwise, it's 0 because the location is 0. But wherever you put that 10,000 also has to be an absolute. So right now, these all say 0, but that's simply because I haven't done any of the other calculations.
For me, it says false all the way down. Is that not what we want, right?
That's not what you want, no, because you're setting the false here as 0. So the first 3 should be 0, and the last 2 should have some number, whether it be 10,000 or a smaller number, or a bigger number, rather. Wait, no. 10,000 is the maximum. Okay. So it should be 10,000 or a smaller number. So where are we? So the last one should be 10,000. And the one above it should be $5,845.50.
Could you say that one more time?
The last one here should be 10,000. And the second to last one should be $5,845.50. So if you did both of these correctly, you should have those as your answers. $5,845.50 for the second to last one for both of them. And then the last one, the regular location cost is $16,733.25, which then it takes the minimum of the 10,000 instead, because we have the maximum fee allowed is 10,000. So since that's over 10,000, this formula drops it back down to 10,000. So if you don't get those numbers, that means you have to double check what you have here for your total annual revenue in column M or wherever you put it, because it's multiplying that total annual revenue times the 1.35%. And again, you guys literally have until, what is it, the 17th? Yeah. So literally a week from Sunday. So you have all of the remainder of the week and all of your spring break to also work on this before it's due. So you're always welcome to email me questions during the week.
Professor, for the
Yes.
annual production, for the second to last one, the location cost I'm getting is 8,000 something. So my annual production is wrong.
This one
But
here.
my annual
So
production
the
is
total annual revenue, not the total annual payments. The total
Oh.
annual payments is associated with the production cost.
okay.
So in the first formula here for location cost, see how it's the 1.35% times M2?
Yeah.
M is total annual revenue.
Okay. So I should use
So revenues are money that you're making, they're positive. Whereas this total annual payments is the total annual of the production cost. So that's a cost, that's a negative.
okay.
Sir, what is the country? The
Yeah, I got
country.
it. Thank you.
So here for country, you're going to use the left function to find out here from station name whether they're US or UK.
Okay.
And then for cable question mark, you're going to use the right function to see if it's N or C. If it's N, it's not cable. If it's C, it's cable, which is going to help you compute the cable fee here. You're going to do an if and. If they're from the UK and they're on cable, then they have this $55,000 bonus. So if a show plays on UK cable station, there's a $55,000 fee paid to you. Shows that play on cable have a C at the end. The ones that have the UK start with UK. So I just split it up and made it easy. So this way you don't have a whole big function. You have the left function for country, the right function for cable, and then an if and to check both. So it'd simply be if and country equals UK, comma, cable equals C. If both of those conditions are met, then it's 55,000. Otherwise, it's zero.
Wait, say that again. You said ifs and equals the left assumption, right?
So I made it easier. So you're going to do left here in country. So you do left. Station name, comma 2, because you just want the first two letters. So all of them now have that piece. And then cable question mark. You're going to do right. You only need one because the N or the C is for no or cable. So any one of these that is UK and C is going to show up with the 55,000. So the only one that's going to be 55,000 is this one here, UKC. All of the others are US. So it doesn't even matter if they're on cable. So you would do if and then you're going to check both of these. So does country equal UK, comma, does cable equal C for cable? If that's true, the 55,000. Otherwise, the 0. But you have to make the 55,000 wherever you put it as an absolute. So you're checking to see that both of these conditions are what we want them to be. UK and cable. So when you click out of that and autofill it down, the only one that's 55,000 is the one that's on UK cable. Because that's what our instructions said. If a show plays on a UK cable station, you get an additional 55,000 paid to you. So rather than have it be if and B2 equals left, it would be way too complicated to put all of that together in this formula. Because then you'd have 4 nested functions.
Annual profit would just be all the revenues minus the cost.
Annual profit.
Yeah.
So profit is always going to be revenue minus cost.
You said advertisement revenue minus cost.
No, profit is your total annual revenue minus total costs.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem.
Could you show the formula for the final location?
So if your location cost is greater than 0, we take the minimum amount of wherever you put your $10,000 as an absolute, comma, otherwise location cost. Then we close out the min, which means if it's true, it's either going to give us 10,000 or whatever the location cost is. Otherwise, it's going to give us 0 for false.
For the continues, we would use an if function,
For the
right?
continues,
Just the continue or canceled.
yes. So basically, that is almost exactly what you guys did with the where was it? with the don't grow and grow decision rule for Monday. So you have a new one here. If number of episodes per year is under 9, or, so it's going to be an if, or the show is greater than 65,000. So it's going to be an if or function where you check to see if episodes per year from column D is less than wherever you put the 9 assumption, comma, your profit here, wherever you put it, mine it's in column T, is greater than wherever you put the 65,000. Make sure that's an absolute. Then comma, if it's true, you're going to continue the show. Comma, if it's false, you're going to cancel the show. So you put them in quotes. Everything is correct. You should have continue, cancel, continue, cancel, cancel. As you should have.
You said profit.
So
You said
3 of these are going to be negative profits. So it
you
should
said
be
profit. You said profit was total annual revenue minus what?
total cost.
Total cost.
So the first and third one should be continue because they're the only positive profits you should get. The second one and the last 2 are both going to be canceled.
Oh no, I'm getting true for everything.
So only the first and third profits should be positive numbers. So check your signs. You're checking number of episodes less than 9, comma, your profit here from T greater than the 65,000, comma, continue in quotes if it's true, comma, cancel in quotes if it's false. So it should look like this. If or, number of episodes in column D is less than 9, comma, profit greater than 65,000. We make them both absolutes. We close out our or. If it's true, continue, comma. If it's false, cancel. So all of mine are going to say cancel when I autofill this down, except this one somehow. Because I don't have any profits listed right now. So my profit is total annual revenue minus total cost. So this one should be continue. This one should be continue. The other 3 will be canceled. Because when you actually do the profit here, the first one and the third one are going to be the only ones that are going to be positive.
Professor,
Yes.
when I add my annual profit, I do M3 minus the negative values. So should I, they're adding them together, so should I put a plus to make them subtract?
So profit is simply just your total annual revenue. So for me, it's in column M. That's the addition of the advertising, cable fee, and international fees minus your total cost, which is the total annual payments, actor salaries, and final location cost. So it's simply one minus the other. You're going to get 3 negatives and 2 positives for profit. So the negatives mean that they lost money, that the show's not profitable, which is why we have this decision rule of continue or cancel. So the first one's going to be continue because the profit's positive. The third one here is going to be continue because the profit's positive. The other 3 are going to be negative for profit, so they're going to say cancel.
But what I'm saying is when I add the two, instead of subtracting, they add together because it's a positive and negative number. Like the annual production is red.
So if you have 3 negative numbers for profit, you got it right. So it's just revenue minus cost. So 3 of them may very well be in the red. That means they're negative. Does that make sense? So you're not adding them, you're subtracting them. So like if you got 55,000 and negative, well, in essence, both numbers should be positive. So when you're subtracting one from the other,
I'm not sure why my annual production is all red though.
this one here,
Yeah,
total annual payments.
with the
So in the
PMT.
in the PMT formula, put a negative sign in front of the present value number at the end. So your production cost is that last number. So put a negative in front of N2
Okay.
and then do that for the other four, and it should make it positive.
Thank you.
Could I see the total cost formula one more time, please?
We're just adding our total annual payments for the production cost, plus the actor salaries, plus the financial final location cost.
Oh, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
So our total annual payments, which is what we get from our production cost, plus the actor salaries, plus the final location costs.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So in mine, it's O plus P plus R. It may be different depending on how you set up yours. All right, so we have 5 minutes left. Or 4 minutes left now. So I'm going to make sure that you guys remember to do the bottom part. So number 5, use absolute addressing where appropriate. That's simply the absolute value stuff. So for example, here, $sign for the row and column. So I'm just going to click through and go, oh, okay. They did it where they needed to. And then you'd get the points for that. Number 4 is about assumptions. Obviously, you put them down just like they're shown in the instructions, and you get the 5 points there. Number 3, values for interest rates, loan payments, and calculated values should be displayed with 2 decimal places. So once you've done everything else, go back in and adjust everything accordingly for those 3 formatting. Then for number 2, each column should have a heading with a description that is text wrapped. So like I showed you on Monday, all you do is click that first row and then click the wrap text button. And it simply kind of basically allows you to see everything. And then the last piece, you click row 1 and insert, and then put in the title as described for 4 points. So TV production, 20 point Times New Roman font. TV production, 20 point. So change it from 11 to 20. Times New Roman font with red letters on a blue background. It should be centered across all columns that have values. So Times New Roman 20. I click in and highlight through U, which is where I have mine stop. And I select the merge and center option. So it moves it here to J, K, and L. So it's centered over everything you have. And then it says red letters on a blue background. So I click make the text red. And then the fill color for the background, I make blue. I'll make this a little darker red so it's easier to see. And then you'd get your 4 points for that.
Professor,
Yes.
for the continue question mark, I have the first three as continue, the second to last one cancel, and the last one continue.
So this one should be continue. This one should be continue. The other three should be cancel.
Okay.
So check that you have your signs correct. So if or number of episodes less than 9, comma, profit greater than 65,000, comma, continue, comma, cancel. You might have the order of one of those off, or some other formulas off, which is not giving you the correct profit. Because this profit's going to be positive, this profit's going to be positive, the other ones are going to have negative profit.
Okay.
All right, so it's 11:45. Anyone have any last questions? If not, enjoy the rest of your week. Have fun on your spring break. And like I said, make sure that you have this submitted by a week from Sunday, the 17th, when this is due. And hopefully, any issues we've been having with Excel will be long gone by then.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right, enjoy.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay, one
Um,
last question.
all right. I'm still stuck on the annual advertising.
So this first one, annual advertising.
Yeah,
What's it say? What's it say? So for the first 75 or 7.5 million viewers, the advertising annual revenue is a little less than 5 cents. For everything over 7.5 million, the revenue is a little under 2 cents. So if you remember from the practice exam on Monday, we basically did the same thing with the fertilizer cost. So the first 4,000 you pay $1.64. Everything after that you pay $1.32. So what we do is we first do an if. We check to see if the number of viewers in column E is less than 7.5 million viewers, comma. If it is, we simply multiply the number of viewers times this little less than 5 cents. If it's not, we do comma 75 or 7.5 million times the little less than 5 cents plus the 7 or the number of viewers minus the 7.5 million times the little less than 2 cents.
would I have to highlight all of the viewers?
Highlight all of the viewers. I'm confused by what you mean by that.
Oh no, because the last step you said um to pick the viewers, right? So I thought I had to like highlight all of them or to pick all of them like all at once.
No, so it would be you do if your number of viewers is less than the 7.5 million you put in as an assumption.
Mm,
So we make that an absolute.
mm.
If that's true, then we simply multiply the number of viewers times the little less than 5 cents. We make that an absolute. But if it's false, then we multiply the 7.5 or 7.5 million times our little less than 5 cents. We make both of them an absolute because we're going to auto fill this down. Plus, inside the parentheses, our number of viewers minus the 7.5 million, which gives us anything that's left over that 7.5 million. And we make wherever you put the 7.5 million as an absolute. And then we multiply that by the little under 2 cents. And then we close out our if function. So what this says is basically if the viewers is less than 7.5 million, we simply multiply number of viewers times the little less than 5 cents. Otherwise, comma, we take the first 75 million, we multiply that by the little less than 5 cents, and then add it to whatever number of viewers is left. The number of viewers minus the 7.5 million, whatever's left. And then multiply that by the discounted price of a little less than 2 cents. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. All right.
Professor, the Excel thing. I wanted to ask you about the week. Was it the pivot tables? Yeah. I want to ask you about the assignment. Is that being graded still? I don't
Pivot
have
tables for your section I graded. The goal seek I haven't graded yet.
Oh yeah, the goal seek. Yeah, I mean the goal seek.
Yeah, I haven't graded that yet. I'm still trying to figure all this out. And I will get back to everybody once and maybe I'll finally get a resolution from the help desk and everything else. So,
Okay. That's all I had.
all right.
See
Yep.
you.
The 18th, when everybody comes back from spring break.
Okay. Have a good spring break.
Thank you. You too.
Have a good spring break and thank you for answering our questions.
No problem. Have a good spring break.